I'm just going to click that now. Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Gabby. I'm the community manager at Grapevine. I know a lot of you already, but for anyone I don't know, it's great to meet you. And these are our growth workshops. So they're really an opportunity to take some learnings from other groups and from our marketing team and all that kind of stuff, and package some strategies for you to bring forward to your groups to help them grow and also increase engagement. So they're a work in progress. We always try and have a bit of a different theme for all of them. The previous one was around branding. This one's really going to focus on content, but we're going to do some basics at the start just to sort of level set for everyone. So how today will work is the first 30 minutes, Jane, who is our director of marketing, is going to do a presentation. And then we've also got, we're trying to do show and tells at these as well from either a leader or a member of the Growth Council to share a bit more about a strategy that can be really tangible for everyone. So if you are interested in presenting something at the next one, please let me know. It's just a 10-minute conversation that I facilitate so you can share out some of the work you've been doing. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A. So I'm going to pass it over to Jane, and just to let you know a bit about Jane, if you haven't met her yet, she is our director of growth marketing, and she has helped us launch over 300 giving circles on the Grapevine platform using channels like LinkedIn, paid advertising, and email marketing. And her expertise has resulted in almost $25 million, or actually we just hit 29 million raised by the Grapevine community on our platform. So thrilled to have Jane here. And I am actually now going to share my screen. So here we go.
Awesome. Thanks for that intro. Yeah, and great to meet everyone here. And since it's like a smaller group, I definitely want this to be like very interactive and kind of conversational. So feel free to chime in. It looks like, just since we do have a small group, actually, I would love to kind of hear from everyone. So Faith, I've seen you at these workshops. You really have so much like knowledge. But if you want to kind of start off with an intro, and we can pass it, pass it to other people on this call.
Sure. My name is Faith Betker, and I'm with Social for Good. I'm the founder and chair, and we are based in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. We're a little bit of a different model than many giving circles in that we support different nonprofits every month by providing them with financial and in-kind support that goes directly to their clients.
Awesome. And Tracy, do you want to go next? Not sure if you're on mute or not, but I did see in the chat, Tracy, you're part of the Toledo Women for Good. Okay, I'll just keep going.
I'll hop in real quick as an intro. I'm sorry, I'm off camera, guys. I'm Monique with the Shiro Plan. Our giving circle is the squad for Black girls in sports. Black girls and women in sports, but yeah, started actually in the DC area, but now based in Georgia. But we do national grant giving and also like technical assistance. So anything that, might be additional help for organizations to just like for capacity building and better social impact.
Awesome. And let's pass over to Sarah.
Hi, I'm with the Dallas Women for Doing Good. There's 3 of us that are new leaders in this group. And so I was just joining to help learn. We're doing our second event in a couple weeks. And so we're just trying to learn and figure it all out. So I'm excited to learn some more today.
Awesome. And I think Tracy, if you're there, feel free to chime in. If you're still having issues.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I'm with the Toledo Women for Good. Our circle started about a year ago, so we're still kind of working through how to grow and how to really get people to participate.
Okay, so focusing on engagement. Great. And Christine, and then I hope I'm not butchering your name, but Flaviu, you can go after Christine. Yeah, and we'll get started.
Are we just introing ourselves?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
Okay,
giving
hi.
circle. Yeah, where you're
Okay.
coming from.
Okay, yeah, I'm Christine. I'm with Christine Clayton with the Women in Design for Gender Equity group, and it's a nationwide distributed group. Yeah, we just started in March, but we're officially kicking things off this month, and we have a poll up now for our first member meet and greet. So pending those results, we should be meeting sometime this month, and then our voting is in August, like everybody else. So
Awesome. Yeah, glad to hear about that one, because that was like you were giving circle. So great to hear it's launching. Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Flavio. It's like Flavio, but with the U at the end. And I am from Romania, though I live in New York now, and started a group to give back to Romanian nonprofits. It's called Romanians Who Care. And yeah, we've just got 15 people, so just getting started, and hopefully could get a few more and keep it going.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, Gabby, if you want to pull up the presentation, we'll go ahead and get started. Yeah, our topic today is content and leveraging content for growth. So I just kind of broke it down into kind of two pieces. First, starting with kind of optimizing your Giving Circle page, or just leveraging, all the features that we have on our platform. And then we'll go into social media, which we touched on a little bit during our last workshop. Yeah, so this is a question that we've been receiving from leaders, especially the ones who are like new to the platform, right? It's what should I be posting on our Giving Circle pages? So we wanted to give you some tips, yeah, and some examples. So we'll start with like the basics. So again, this might be pretty like repetitive if you've already been running your Giving Circle for a while, but these are some things to just keep in mind. Is setting goals, motivating your members, and then also taking the moments to celebrate the wins. So first, for setting goals, like two kind of ideas I have is one, you could be running like a new membership drive campaign for your next cycle. So I think most of you guys are on a quarterly donation cycle. So that gives you about 3 months to have a really robust campaign to drive new members, right? And I think when you're preparing for a campaign, it's really setting your benchmark. So maybe if you have 100 members, you want to aim for, 150 members or 125 members, and kind of break down how you would get to that goal, right? So it could be as easy as we have 50 people, we want to double our membership. So we want every single member to bring in one new member in for our next event. So kind of thinking about your strategies and setting your benchmarks. That's, it's reasonable, but it's also inspirational, right? And also always translating that into the impact that you're making. Or you could also consider kind of thinking about it as like a continuous growth kind of strategy throughout the year. So, growing by X%, maybe it's 10%, 15% each donation cycle, and setting your goal that way. So thinking about it as like one really big campaign each year, maybe like every beginning of the year, your first cycle, you do a new member drive, right? To set you up for the rest of the year, or you try kind of doing it throughout each of the year. But either way, I think setting goals and communicating this to your members using our post features is really important, right? They kind of need to know what your goal is for the year, what you're planning, and how they can each help for you to get to these goals. So I just have an example on the right side here, a screenshot from Bridget. So I definitely recommend you check out her Giving Circle page. She runs the Black Trans Lives Thrive Giving Circle, but she has kind of a monthly goal, right, Gabby? And she really kind of breaks it down. And if you can kind of see in her post here, this is just one example, but she gives very like clear call to actions on what her members should be doing. And then motivating. So during these campaigns or throughout the year, whatever your goals are, posting consistent updates about your progress, right? And also the different milestones that you're hitting. just to kind of get people motivated, but also understand that like you've reached 80% of the goal, right? And we have 20% left to go. And then breaking down what that 20% is, you could say this means like we need 5 people to invite 2 new members in, just really breaking it down so that it doesn't seem like, it's too hard to achieve, and setting really clear call to action. So even if someone's donated, you could also ask those members to do something, right? So amplifying your post or your content on their LinkedIn or another social media page, right? And tagging 2 or 3 people. That could be a really easy ask. It could be that you also set up an event and then you ask every member who have donated to invite 1 new person to come to that event. So just setting those really clear expectations that people can just, kind of check off. And then of course, always highlighting the impact, kind of translating into, if we get 15 more members, that means we get, X number, X dollars more to a nonprofit. And then really kind of going back to your past impact and showing that. And then throughout this whole process, take the time to shout out your members and engage with the members post. And lastly, the last kind of set of tips is just celebrating, right? So asking your members to share your milestone. So make sure you use the milestone post that we'll kind of go over that when we go to our features on your Giving Circle page, and then ask all of your members to then share it out onto all their social pages, as many as they want to. And then of course, make sure that you're tagging all the different members so it's more shareable. And this is another idea I've seen a lot of groups do this, a lot of the newer groups as well, which is really exciting, but really sharing the impact stories from your nonprofit grantee. So, consider like setting up an event, a volunteer event with your nonprofit grantee, take some photos, right? And those photos are like awesome to share out, right? People really want to see those, and just celebrating together. And you can also leverage the organizations you're partnering with, and getting them to share out your content as well. So yeah, don't forget to post the fun photos from your events and gatherings. Gabby is really trying to encourage more members to host their own events, just even outside of like the cycle events, just coffee breaks or happy hours. And so just sharing those photos out. And then, once you have kind of built up your if you've gone through multiple donation cycles and you have some great stories to share, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to your local media, right? And Gabby, actually, I think we have a press release template that we can share out after this meeting, but that might be something that you want to do to get it out even wider beyond your network. So I'll just pause there. Just curious, these are some examples that I've seen, kind of just illustrating all those different tips that we went over, but curious to hear from you guys, what you've seen, what's worked, what you've tried. Yeah. Faith, I might call on you since you've been running your Giving Circle page the longest.
So I haven't really been using Grapevine probably as much as I could to get the word out to our members. We typically communicate through MailChimp. Every Sunday, we do a communication to our members because again, we're on a monthly cycle. So we have very specific goals every month. I will definitely agree with you that setting a goal and broadcasting it out is critical. Our last project, we were about $250 shy of our goal of raising $4,000. And in one day we raised $800. 2 of our members actually donated $250 each because they were like, we're getting you over the top. We got this. So we ended up being able to, instead of feed women at a nonprofit that helps formerly incarcerated women for a month, we were able to actually feed them for 6 weeks, which is really huge. But definitely the goal setting is critical.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's a really good point. When you're like so close to meeting your goal, I think it's really as easy as just making another ask and letting people know, like, we are this close and we just need X amount. People just sometimes need that little nudge. And people want to be the one who like sends you over your goal, right? Like that, it's a good feeling. So I think that's a great point. Yeah, so I think all of these examples here are from the San Diego Women in Business for Good. So I don't know if Gabby, you want to drop in their giving circle page, but I think that they do a really excellent job of really engaging their members. You'll see here, right? Like people are responding to each other. There's really good communicate, a good threads happening. They do a lot of like meet and greets in between their donation cycles to welcome in new members, and they always post these really fun photos. They also use this like milestone post feature here, right, to say that they're really close to getting to their 10,000 goal and letting them know like what's left to raise. And then this last example on the right here, just giving a shout out to a member. And I think that's really nice, right? Especially highlighting the members who are helping the leaders to grow the groups. So just wanted to share that. Yeah, and other tips here, kind of going off of everything we just talked about. So reminding members how they can engage with the group on an ongoing basis. So not just for like those specific donation cycle events, but in between that, setting regular meet and greets or office hours to welcome in new and potential members, right? So if you do like a new member drive, oftentimes what we've seen work best is that they, it's hard for them to wait like 3 months, right, to meet all the new members. That kind of gives them, they might feel a little bit hesitant to really get involved until they meet you in real life. So we encourage the leaders of those, especially the location-based groups, to kind of hold these regular meet and greets, either in person or if you have to, virtual office hours as well, just to answer some questions. And I would recommend using like a LinkedIn event feature to do this, but you can also use other tools. And celebrating holidays and world events, we have a lot of these. Like I feel like every day is something, like Girls and Women's Day or International Giving Day. Really leverage those. I think a big one that jumps out to me is like Giving Tuesday. I think a lot of people are familiar with that one. Of course, all the different holidays. Holidays, a good time to ask people to give back. Yeah, and then give people a sense of missing out. So I think that's why posting photos from events, really showing that it's like a network and a community, I think really helps to kind of make people want to join, right? They want to not just give, but also meet other people and have fun. Gabby, anything else to note there? What you've seen work? Yeah.
One thing I just want to note that is a newish kind of feature. If you do have new members, some groups will every week they'll list the new members and welcome them in and ask them to share something, and you can actually tag in members, which is really useful. So before you could just write their names, but now if you put @ you can tag people in. So we've seen some groups every week sharing about the new members and welcoming them in that way.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's something that a lot of leaders ask for too, right? Being able to do that too. Yeah, to have like good conversations on the platform. Yeah, and actually, Gabby, I'm gonna hand it over to you right here too, just to like highlight some of the features that would help you with, like new member drives.
Yeah, so just kind of want to draw attention to some of the places on the platform where you can add members, for example. And if you scroll down there, you can see in the bottom left sort of video outlining that if you share your personal URL that you can see down there, you will get credits for that, money off your donations, various incentives that we're always running. So that's a great place to get your link to share, opposed to just sharing the like main URL of the group. Go in there and share your direct one. And this is also for leaders where you can en masse invite people in. And then also, lots of people don't know about this, but you also can print a QR code. It will automatically generate for you. So if you do this, we have some leaders who will set up shop at a coffee shop and host meet and greets and print out the QR code so people can just get it up on their phone and join the group that way. So that's a really nice feature to utilize as well. All right. And then just to Jane's point about really using some of those community building tools that are built into the platform, that milestone feature, which is under join the discussion. And also you'll notice we share on your page about your grants when they come out. So there's a little button at the bottom there to share, and that allows your members to share onto various social platforms, as well as with the milestone posts. So just really encouraging people to use that feature and use it on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. So just want to draw attention to those couple things there.
Yeah, and as we're talking about content, just wanted to, just focus on, or just flag that like focusing on impact and storytelling is really crucial, right? Like people don't always just want to see stats, right? They want to hear like those emotional stories or the impact of what the collective group is doing. So just some examples. Yeah, I'll kind of let you guys take a look at this. But all these posts really just illustrate like the power, right, of storytelling and really talking about the impact. So I know when we're fundraising, we want to focus on the dollar amounts, but I think just kind of going back to, why we're doing this, what the dollars actually translate into in terms of like impact in your community and how it helps the local nonprofit, and really highlighting the local nonprofits and their mission, I think is really important. So I think I have another slide that shows some other examples. Yeah, and this group, I believe these posts are all from the Albuquerque Women in Business for Good. So I encourage you to check out their page as well. They always have a ton of events, and they always make sure to kind of highlight the nonprofit grantees each cycle. So I really love that. You'll see on the left side. Sorry, I was just reading a comment from one of you guys. Yeah, got the QR code. It's great. Yeah, just kind of going back to like the impact of their gifts, right? They're highlighting their nonprofit, photos from their nonprofit grantee. Also the right hand post there, they're having like a volunteer event to go work with their nonprofit grantee. And I think just seeing all those photos, right? Like real life photos of their impact is really powerful. And I think Adele is gonna actually chime in more about that. So we'll hold off on more on that, and we'll go on to how we can leverage our content on social platforms as well. Yeah, so why is it important to kind of establish your other like social media presence? So it establishes your brand and increases awareness, right? Oftentimes, I think now we get an email about something, or we see it on LinkedIn, or I don't know, someone's Facebook page. The first thing we do is like look at that organization's social pages, right? I know a lot of people do that with Grapevine when we reach out to them. So it's the same idea. We're showing that this is real, like we have real people participating in this, and this is the impact of our group. So just creating that trust. It also creates a community for existing members, right? It's a place for people to share, tag each other, recognize each other. So it's a good place to engage members beyond the platform. Because I bet you more people are on Instagram, right, on the Grapevine, and then on the Grapevine platform. So just kind of expanding your content outside. And then, like I said before, increase trust and legitimacy, right? Like this is real, this is really happening. Because that is a question we get oftentimes from people who we like invite into the Giving Circle movements. Yeah, so leverage, whatever platform you feel like your audience is like the most, like suited for. So it could be Instagram. That's the one thing that pops up in my mind. LinkedIn, that's another one a lot of people are on. But also if you want to, look into Twitter, TikTok, we haven't tried as much out there, but I'm curious to, see how that works. But sharing your photos and videos from events, highlighting members, sharing your impact, sharing events, and then, of course, making sure to tag people and, reminding members to share it out, kind of amplifies all this content.
And one thing just to add, a recent learning that we got from our spring campaign was that the videos we shared on Instagram specifically got 90% more engagement than our photos. So if you do have short videos, it really is powerful.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to like overcomplicate it, right? Like when you're in an event, maybe you can kind of assign someone as a social chair, or it could just be someone who really likes social media and they just want to volunteer a little bit of their time. But it just take like 30 seconds, right? To just like pan across the room and just show that like all these people have gathered. Doesn't have to be like highly produced videos. Yeah, so Instagram, sure that you guys are really familiar with this platform, but just a few tips here. So make sure your Instagram page is a business page. and invite your members first to follow the page, and make sure you like add your tags to all the different kind of marketing materials you have. It could be like flyers you use at your event, maybe just like put it on a piece of, post-it or something, and remind people to follow you and tag you there. And then use Canva, which is a free tool. A lot of our leaders love using it. It's really easy to have all these like templates already. So once you have kind of set your branding, which is just thinking about your color scheme, right? Maybe you just want to pick like a few colors that you use consistently, fonts, things like that. And then, yeah, use our templates to create your post. And as Gabby said, posting videos from our events has been, shown to have a lot of engagement. Another tip is just follow other accounts, right? If you're in like women in tech for gender equality, maybe makes sense to follow other groups that are doing similar things, right? Women in tech, there's a lot of different accounts there. There could be other local women organizations in your area, right? Chamber of Commerce, all those different organizations, just to kind of see what they're doing, but also, it makes sense, right? The followers of those organizations will probably be a really good potential new member for your group as well. Yeah, and then some campaign ideas here. So, and some examples, you can move forward. Yeah.
One video here, and we'll share this presentation out afterwards, but the Tampa group did a great on Instagram speed intro to just really quickly let members know how they can engage with the group. I think people understanding how to engage with the group is sometimes one of the biggest roadblocks. So any places you can put videos is really useful. Here's just some Instagram feeds of some of our groups to inspire you.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll see kind of how they were really branded, consistent with their content. And yeah, we'll send you a copy of this so you can kind of check out their Instagram pages. And on LinkedIn, we've seen a lot of groups now start to create their own LinkedIn company pages or groups. You can do that as well. It's kind of up to you. And it's kind of the same idea, right? Across all these platforms, invite your members to follow, post regularly. You can use the same content across multiple platforms, right? You don't have to create something new for LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram. Like you can use the same exact graphics. Just make sure to like tag in the different people on different platforms. And I think LinkedIn is a good tool to like set up your events. Yeah, and I think someone just dropped in here, virtual coffees, exactly. And Nextdoor, this one we always come back to over and over again because we've actually had a few leaders try this out, and just with like one post, they were able to get 6 new members, 10 new members, just like, and it takes 5 minutes or less of your time. So this one, I just want to flag for you. If there's like anything that you decide to do in like the next week or so, I would say like, just try this out. Just, set up your account if you don't already have it. Nextdoor, you have to set up your account with your actual location. So that's why like we can't go around and post for every single group. So this is like a great thing for leaders to kind of take advantage of. Yeah, so we have the template that's linked in here, but it's just as easy as just putting up a post, putting up your Giving Circle page and asking people to join. And then Facebook, very similar to Instagram, right? You can set up a Facebook group or a business page. I've seen people use Facebook to like broadcast their cycle events. So if you want to do like live stream, that's great. If you ever want to consider running paid ads, like putting in $10 a month for Instagram or Facebook ads, you do have to have a Facebook business page. So just want to point that out. Of course, you can use Facebook to create events and then ask your members to invite their friends, right? People who are connected to them, to those events as well. Yeah, and I think that was about it. Other ideas, we haven't tried these platforms yet, so I'm curious if you guys have at all. TikTok, Meetup, Eventbrite, Volunteer Match, your local events calendars and newsletters, but these are all free platforms. So as it's just like if you're having any other sort of like fundraising gala or event, right? Like you want to just get it out onto as many platforms as possible, so more eyeballs can get on it. So that's kind of the general idea. Yeah, some tips here. So I don't think like this should be just, focused on all of like the leaders. I think you can also kind of tap into your members. especially like people who just genuinely like love social media and being on it. I don't want this to be like additional work for people, but there's always someone, right, within a group of friends or whatever who loves social media, and they just take photos everywhere, and they, you know, they're really good at coming up with those captions. I would say like tap 1 or 2 people to kind of own that. Set your kind of brand guidelines, and then use Canva to create your graphics, and then choose your platforms based on your audience, and then just reuse your content over and over again. Don't put more work in it than you need to, and then tag and share it out. And then this is just a checklist, some ideas that I think would be great to see some of our leaders try. So try using all of the post features that are available. So Gabby went over these, but not just a general information or nonprofit nomination post, but create new events. I think member-led events, right? Even if it's like a social gathering that's outside the donation cycle, I think those are really just meaningful and good place to like build your network. And then use like the group milestones to really celebrate everything you're achieving. Share photos, everything we just went over. And I'm just looking at the clock here, so I don't want to run over, but yeah, any thoughts, questions, or comments? If you've tried any of these things?
See, Christine has a question around groups that are maybe not in person, but are more virtual or distributed. I will say a great example of this is the Black Lives Thrive group that we mentioned at the start. They are fully like that as well. And Bridget really focuses on milestones and setting really clear goals for their group. So I will share that out afterwards, but I think they're a great example of doing that work. But I would... I'll put together a couple examples there of some other groups, but I think really focusing on impact has been useful for her.
And I think Women in Tech for Gender Equality is another good example. I think for storytelling, like, maybe you can't have in-person events, but you could still set up like a Zoom call with your nonprofit grantee, right? Or you could actually just ask them to share a video, like their executive director or someone, to share a video about how they used your funds and share that out. So there's some other ways that
that's a good idea.
We have our women's, one of our women's rights groups. They've been using LinkedIn Live, actually. They're also a similar situation, and they'll just do LinkedIn Lives and invite a guest, a member, or a grantee, and share it out that way as well, which has been kind of a fun sort of interview series. Okay, so now I'm really excited to welcome, and we'll have time for more questions at the end, but I'm really excited to welcome Adela Dover as our sort of featured member right now. So a bit about Adela. Adela is a member of the Giving Circle San Diego Women in Business for Good. She's also an active member of our Giving Circle Growth Council, which is a group of marketing professionals coming together to help grow the movement with us. She's a digital marketer that specializes in working with real estate professionals, and she has expertise in everything from social media, online advertising, PR, and revenue generation. So we're super excited to have Adela here to share a couple of thoughts she has on growing your group from her very sort of unique perspective. So Adela, I guess the first question I want to ask you is, why do you feel like strong storytelling is so important to growing your Giving Circle?
I think the short answer is because people are looking for connections. When you tell me a story, I feel like I can connect with you on an emotional level. So when we have emotions involved in everything we do, we are more willing to actually give and be more involved in the community and do more good, right? So we all learn better from storytelling, and especially with a nonprofit organization and with Giving Circles, it's, in my opinion, it's so fundamental to show how we actually helped those organizations and what was the impact we had with our help. So telling those stories on, how we helped kids get, more supplies for school, or how we help homeless people get housing, or, different type of situations, I think that's going to create more connection, emotional connection, and then more willingness for people to join the group and actually donate. And even like with marketing, regardless of if we're talking about a nonprofit organization or in any marketing, I think, storytelling is so important. And when we look at big brands and organizations at their commercial and advertising, it's always the story. And at the end, it's like, oh, by the way, visit, cox.com. Or it's really at the end, because people relate and connect with stories.
And I'm really curious, so you do a lot of work with real estate professionals. Mm-hmm. What are some lessons in that and strategies you feel like we could apply to growing our giving circles?
I think real estate professionals are a really good niche for the giving circles to reach out to. Because first of all, because they want to do good. Then they want to I know it sounds a little bit like maybe hypocritical, but they want to show to their clients like, oh, I am donating and I'm participating, helping these nonprofit organizations in our community, right? So when they go and do their listing presentation, or they try to sell themselves in their packages, they always put those that do it, right? They always put like, oh, I donated to this, and every quarter we raise this amount of money and we organize these events and to donate to these people. So it's always, again, going back, this is a way for them to connect with their community and show that they are actually involved in the community. And then a third reason is, honestly, it's a really good tax write-off for them. Because it's a good, there is no because, it's a good tax write-off for them. And they do have the possibilities and the financial resources to actually donate and be part of this, right? So I think it's a really, really good niche to reach out to and kind of like show them, this is what we do, this is how we help the organizations, in your community, you want to be a part of this, right? And then if we show them how we help them to promote this on their end and show this to their community as well, I think this is going to be extremely appealing for them and more willing to join.
And is there a way you suggest people find local, like what's the best way for people to find active agents in their area, I guess?
So the best resource to find real estate agents that are actually successful, that they are doing business and are making money, is a website. It's called, and I'm going to share my screen here if that's okay. It's called realtrends.com. And in each state, if you click here, you can find which are the most successful agents in your state. So like, for example, if I go to California, I can see here, there are different categories: individuals, small teams, medium teams, large team, and mega teams. But you can see, these are all successful. They sold 930 homes, right? And 300 homes and 200 homes. And, if we do the calculation, we can see that, they are doing really good for themselves, and, they might be willing to be part of a giving circle. And you can have, you can see individuals, like I said, you can go for small teams, and, if you click on them, you can find a lot of good data here, in my opinion, for possible prospects. Yeah.
Great. And then you had shared with me an interesting a real estate agent you had worked with as a client, a really interesting content approach that connected the nonprofits and the impact. So yeah, just would love for you to talk a bit about that approach that you had worked with that client.
Yeah, so I worked with Tiffany. She's a successful real estate agent in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she was involved in a lot of nonprofit organizations. And she really wanted to kind of like help, bring awareness and help this organization and, get the community to know about them. So what we did every month, we did an interview with that specific organization. So Tiffany and the head of the organization would jump on a Zoom call, and they would just have an interview about what the organization is doing, and then how is that organization helping people in the community, what's the impact in the community. And it was so great because this organization got exposure to Tiffany's audience, social media. We posted that all over social media. We sent an email out to her database. So it got a lot of exposure. And then, like on the other hand, like the organization itself posted on their social media, right? So like if, say, leader from a giving circle, say, would do this type of interview, right? The organization would probably post on their social media, and then the reach would be so much bigger because everybody's sharing the interview. And then the interview, I found actually one because I know we talked yesterday. Share an example. So this is how it looks. It was just like a 13 minutes interview, and then this was connecting the gap. It's basically connects the gap by surrounding youth affected by the death of a parent or guardian with a network of support and resources to successfully sustain them through school and transition into life post-graduation. And these interviews are so cool because they really tap into emotions. And if you listen to some of them, you're just going to start crying because they are so emotional and so inspiring at the same time. And I don't know, like you naturally just want to start and give to these people and help these organizations. So again, we're going back to telling stories, and this is very, in my opinion, easy to kind of like produce because you just get on a Zoom meeting, and it doesn't have to be like every week. Even if you do once a month, right? Feature one organization, and you just get on a Zoom and you interview the people, and this is very organic and great content to create that can create impact and emotions and get people to join the organization. I mean the giving circle. So
that's great that there's that example. I'll share that out afterwards as well, so people can check it out if they want to.
Yeah.
And then when you had mentioned the real estate agents, is there a particular tactic, or how do you suggest approaching, because that profession, is there a way that they like to be reached out to? Is there stuff they really don't like? Just curious how you suggest people approach them.
Honestly, I would say I would reach out to them actually just kind of like sending these type of interviews, right? So if I would be, say, Tiffany, and I would be the leader of a giving circle, and I want to reach out to other real estate agents, I would be, hey, John, I just did this interview with Noel from this organization. This is a nonprofit organization. It helps young people that, they don't have any support system to kind of like, network and connect. And with other people, here is a quick interview with them. I would love for you to I would say, take a look at this interview, and, it would be so great if together we could make an impact on our community. There are ways where, we can do this together. Reach out to me or check my link here. So I would certainly do not reach out saying like, hey, I'm part of the Giving Circle growth group. We do this. Do you want to be a part of the group? Because real estate agents, they are so like bombarded with these type of messages every single day that I think, the approach should be a little bit different when you reach out to, this is the organization, this is how to help the community, this is how you can make an impact as well through this organization.
Right. So really approaching it to collaborate and make a positive impact in the community will kind of stand out, I guess.
And
great.
I would, as a medium to reach out to them, I would certainly not use LinkedIn because you will very rarely see an agent being active on LinkedIn. Most of the time they are active on their emails or on their Facebook accounts or even Instagram, but certainly not LinkedIn.
Not LinkedIn. Okay.
They are not LinkedIn people.
Okay. That's good to know. And anything else you want to share that you, I know we only have, we're nearing the end, but anything you think we should know before we kind of wrap up here?
I think, when I talk about content, creating emotions and connection is what's gonna get people to join, and showing them how their contribution makes an impact. It's going to actually convince them to be a part of a giving circle. So showcasing more, of the work we do, either if it's through video or just, pictures or, a story, or when we talk about PR, maybe like a PR article, PR release about how we helped. I think that's gonna connect with people and kind of like bring them in and attract them in to be a part of a giving circle.
Yeah, focusing on that impact and that storytelling and that human piece. Well, we have the last 10 minutes here. We thought we'd open it up to see if anyone has any questions for Jane or Adela, or just wants to share anything in general. Yeah, go ahead, Faith.
Right. Rookie error. I don't know if this will work where you are, but we've been successful in working with a local free magazine, which is very much focused in the real estate area around, it's called McLean Living. It's one of our local free magazines that gets delivered to homes in a city, McLean, that are over $1 million in value. And we actually act as their charity reporter. So every month when we host our events and we, highlight one of our nonprofit partners, we submit an article to McLean Living that talks about, the organization and what we did, which raises visibility for us, but also importantly, raises visibility for the nonprofits, the issues that are happening in our area, and then gives our members some visibility that what they do really does make a difference.
And how did that happen that you became the charity reporter? Did you just
it's just one of our members is very involved in the community. She works in one of the very high end 55 plus communities that's being developed in our area, and she made the introduction to the publisher, and then that publisher owns the franchise not only for McLean Living, but is also going to be developing additional magazines in other towns near where we are. So we were fortunate that one of the other publishers was able to join us for our June event and get a sense of what we're doing. So a lot of it is networking. As Adela said, networking, understanding, who really is making those community connections. And again, it was just the luck of being introduced.
That's really cool. That's great. Yeah. Anything else?
I think just looking also at who is in the group, like Faith said, because, when I look into the group, I can see that, I'm a marketing director, someone else is a real estate agent, someone else is a financial advisor, and kind of like start to leverage each other, I guess, in the group and say, how can we get more exposure? Or is there a way, where we can get more exposure in our community to bring more awareness.
And that's where, that members tab is really useful for everyone, especially as your group grows, seeing who's even in the group. I'm sure you have new people joining all the time, and leveraging that kind of wealth of knowledge. Okay, we've got a question here from Rodney. How do people ask nonprofit partners, grantees to participate in marketing and outreach? I'm sensitive to asking them to do more work and don't want to objectify them and their causes. I know that many will likely want to be a part of spreading the word, but some may not feel obligated to do so. Yeah, I would maybe, Faith, I would be curious if you have any thoughts around Rodney's question here.
I don't know, Rodney, if this will answer your question directly, but at our monthly socials, we invite our nonprofit partners to come and present who they are and why our project has impact on their clients. But then we also ask them to give us a quote around their program and what our project's impact is. And then we incorporate that in, I just actually posted it on a Grapevine site while we were talking, the last two projects that we did in June. And then we include that in the McLean Living article that we write. We try not to ask them to do very much more work because we know that what we're doing is a drop in the bucket to what they're trying to do in running their programs and doing like major development work. But we also know that as an organization with 138 women who are on Grapevine and a distribution list of over 230, that getting their message out to those women who are already engaged and philanthropists and all that is going to make a difference in what they're doing. They may find that next volunteer, they may find that next big, donor. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I think also just being thoughtful and putting a bit of work in when you make these asks to what the nonprofit might get back by simply asking them, what do you, besides funds, like what's something you really need right now? And maybe they're like, we have this event coming up on this day, we need 10 more volunteers. And you can really incorporate that into, publicizing that to your group or whatever it is. So I would say really having that relationship there where you have a dialogue about what they need and how you can leverage this group. Because so often we hear people say, all the presentations were great, but, 2 nonprofits didn't get the grant and we feel bad. What can we do? So I think members are really looking to get more involved often. So I just kind of want to throw that out there as well.
Yeah, and I just add what we do is we have a program called Social for Good Plus. So for any of the organizations that we've ever worked with, which right now is 38, so it's a little scary that they could all come to us at once. If they have a volunteer requirement where they really need some bodies to do something, they can come to us. And if it's not going to have an impact on our current project, then we will put it out to our members. The result of which is one of our nonprofits actually delivers literacy materials to adult learners. And we now have a Social for Good Plus program called Literacy Brigade, where 3 times a year, our members will actually deliver those materials. We just did it in June to 75 houses, and there were 22 members out in the community, just dropping off materials and meeting those adults who are trying to learn English and get acclimated into our community. It's extraordinarily impactful and saves both parties, the nonprofit and the student, significant time and resources.
And also, just to your point, Rodney, about the objectification that you had mentioned. I know we shared a lot of images and posts, but I do also want to remind people, be really sensitive. And before you post things, if it's of people at the organization or clients of who use the nonprofit, really try and have that strong relationship with the nonprofit so that you can be in dialogue about using certain materials, because you definitely want to be sensitive and about the content you're sharing. Asking them how to get the word out and further, support their efforts. Great. Okay, I know we only have a couple minutes left. Anything else before we wrap up? Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today for our growth workshop, and Jane and Adela for taking the time to go through all of these strategies and ideas, and for everyone for sharing as well. Faith, thank you so much as always for jumping in and sharing all that insight you have from your group. I will share out all these resources afterwards. we will also be sharing the recording if there's anything in there that you want to see again. So thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you at the next one. So thank you again for joining. And Faith, yes, I will
Thank
stay
you.
on.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Marcel. Oh, I think Marcel's frozen. Hello.
Hi, I don't know if you want to stop recording.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So just real quick. So